Welcome to another DFO Fantasy show. It is Wednesday, November the 19th, and I'm your host, Brock Seguin, managing fantasy editor of dailyfaceoff.com. And we've got another packed show for you today. We will start with fantasy news and notes, get some injury updates. Then we've got Brock's lock of the day. And then in the second half of the show, we'll be welcomed by our longtime friend, Beebs Bondy, who will stop by, and me and him will discuss the waiver wire, the best waiver wire pickups for week 7 of the fantasy hockey season. So let's not waste any time. Let's get right into it with the news and notes. The Toronto Maple Leafs injury issues continue. Matthew Knies missed Tuesday's game with a lower body injury. According to head coach Craig Berube, it's something that Knies has been dealing with, and it got worse yesterday. It's unclear at the moment of this recording if he'll be available for Thursday's game against the Blue Jackets. But obviously, this is a team that is just absolutely reeling due to injuries. But some positive injury news is Austin Matthews returned to practice on Tuesday, which is a good sign that he won't at least be out for an extended period of time. Again, it's unclear whether or not he'll be back for Thursday's game against the Blue Jackets, but he is eligible to be activated from injured reserve for that game. So we'll see how he responds after yesterday's skate, and then I'm assuming we'll get some news tomorrow morning during their morning skate. Let's go to the Boston Bruins now, where Elias Lindholm, he traveled out west with the Bruins. It's unclear if he'll be back Wednesday against the Ducks or later in the trip. Another quick update on the Bruins is Charlie McAvoy did not travel. They said they're planning on releasing kind of like a full timeline on his condition or his injury later today, most likely. So we should get an update on McAvoy. We'll talk about that one a little bit more tomorrow. Let's go to Minnesota now, where Ryan Hartman is week to week with a lower body injury. We talked about this on Monday. Hartman and Marco Rossi now both out long term. So Danila Urov will center the Wild's top line on Wednesday. So Urov will be with Kaprizov. They will keep Eriksson Ek on that second line with Matt Boldy for the time being. So really shorthanded up front right now for the Minnesota Wild, who have a tough matchup tonight against the Hurricanes. But sticking with the Wild, Jesper Wallstedt will start Wednesday's game. So we talked about him on last week's waiver wire show. We're not going to get too in depth on him again this week, but this is now his 4th start in the Wild's last 6 games. Obviously Wednesday probably not the best spot start matchup as they face a really good Hurricanes team and they're shorthanded. But Wallstedt, if he keeps getting starts, he's a definite must own, especially for teams in need of some goaltending help. And at the moment, he's still just 30% rostered on Yahoo, but that climbed up, I think, 10% from yesterday already. So his own percentage is going to continue to rise. He's somebody that should be owned if he's going to continue to at least see, a 50-50 split with Gustafsson moving forward. And he's just played tremendously well over his last few starts. So, and then we'll close up the news and notes. Here's just a quick update on Michael Kesselring from the Buffalo Sabres. He is expected to miss an extended period of time with a lower body injury. Somebody that missed the start of the season, probably could have worked his way into some fantasy relevance in kind of extended formats, but just been a tough start to his Sabres career. That is going to do it for the news and notes. Now let's get to Brock's lock of the day. And this segment is a presentation of Betway. Join the action and download the Betway app. Create an account today and enjoy our sign-up bonus. 18 plus. Please play responsibly. Last night's Brock's lock of the day hit. It was a bit sketchy. We had Matt Coronato over 2.5 shots on goal. I believe through 2 periods, the Flames had 7 shots as a team, and Coronato had 0. So it was looking like we were trending towards an L. He ended up picking up 1 shot right at the end of the second period, scored a goal. And then that kind of unlocked him for the third, where he added 2 more shots, and the bet ended up hitting. But to be honest with you, I don't think there's any reason to complicate things. It worked last night, although it wasn't without the sweat. But he's now hit this mark in 6 straight games. And we actually get better odds on Coronato over 2.5 shots on goal tonight than we did last night. Last night we got -125. Tonight we're getting -120. And it's actually in a better matchup. For the season, the Buffalo Sabres have given up the most shot attempts and the most shots on goal against in the entire NHL, and not really showing much sign of improvement, because over their last 10 games, they're the third most shot attempts and 5th most shots against in the NHL. So the matchup is absolutely elite, and we've been talking about Coronato a lot. We're actually going to talk about him in the second half of the show as well. But he's averaging 5.5 shots on goal and 7.7 shot attempts in his last 6 games. The shot volume is insane. Even in a game in which the Flames really, really struggled last night, Coronato was still able to get to this 3-shot threshold. So I like him in a really good matchup tonight against the Buffalo Sabres. So give me Matt Coronato over 2.5 shots on goal on back-to-back nights. That's Brock's lock of the day. Hopefully we can get to 13-8 on the season. Now, let's welcome in our friend, DFO Fantasy analyst and site editor, Beebs Bondy. Welcome in, buddy. How are you doing today?
Doing good. Got my Atlanta Thrashers jersey on for no reason other than the fact that I love the Atlanta Thrashers jersey, and looking forward to coming back at some free agents. We've I mentioned it last week, but we're doing quite well on these. Unless a guy gets hurt, their ownership is going up per episode. So the injury bug has been an odd thing that's happened. I believe that last week I said pick up Burakovsky, and he was ill 5 minutes after we posted. So things like that are happening, but the guys, when they are playing, are doing fantastic. So we're ready to lay out some more beauties for people to pick up. And without further ado, shall we?
Yeah, I think you're right about that, right? I think the same episode I mentioned Victor Arvidsson. Let's get ahead of it. Add him for next week, where he'll be a great streamer. He didn't even make it to this week, so that was unfortunate. But yeah, let's get into it. Kick us off, Beebs.
Yeah, we'll start with a higher owned player here, but that's okay because you know what, we'll work our way into things here. But Anton Lundell out in Florida, he is currently 36% owned, occupying line 1 and power play 1. Again, for the Panthers, he has 16 points, 5 goals, 11 assists in 19 games played this year, 38 shots on goal. Coming into the season with the news of Barkov out for about 7 to 9 months, the question wasn't if Lundell would have to handle a heavy workload. It was if he could turn it into fantasy production. And he's kind of proving, especially as of late, that he can. The 24-year-old former 12th overall pick has proved that good things come to those who wait, and in turn has put up 5 goals, 16 points in 19 games this season. As I mentioned, that's a 69-point pace across a full season. But what actually is kind of intriguing and what's making him pop on my waiver wire segment here, ahead of some other big names that are close to his own percentage here, is he's just been on fire in his last 6 games. And the reason for that is he's increased his ice time a little bit more and proven that he can handle those big minutes. 7 points in his last 6 games, as mentioned, 2 goals, 5 assists, 12 shots on goal. So he has 2 per game, which is just in line with his regular season. But he's averaging 21.49 time on ice in those 6 games. Now, if you were to have that all year long, he would be the 5th highest forward in time on ice in the whole league. That is absolutely bonkers ice time. And as you know, on the Daily Faceoff podcast, we love when guys get ice time. It usually leads to fantasy production. And with that type of ice time, I'm expecting big things from Lundell going forward. We've seen Florida just consistently losing bodies. And as they do, it's almost as if they're leaning more on their 24-year-old center here. And he's proving that he can take it. Brad Marchand's having an absolutely insane year, and that's happening with Lundell. Yeah, Brock, I see those eyes. I do it every night when he puts up a goal and an assist. And
he's been insane. He's on an 11-game point streak with 17 points.
Yeah,
that's Marchand, and since the second game of the season, he has 23 points in his last 17 games. Like, it's been insane.
Yeah, he's top 10 in goals. He's top 20 in point. It's absolutely bonkers. I can't believe that I was thinking that it was going to be a down year after he signed that fat contract in the offseason. But he does well. Lundell's right next to him doing quite as well too, and at 36% owned. The reason I wanted to mention him is because there are a lot uglier names in this percentage and higher that I'd rather have Anton Lundell than a lot of these names. So at that point, he's one of my favorite pickups. I do believe, if you're top 5 among forwards in time on ice, you're going to be putting up some fantastic fantasy numbers. So Lundell, we love your usage. Way to go, buddy. Time for a breakout, and we are all witnessing it right now.
Yeah, just a little bit more on Brad Marchand too. Like Lundell and Marchand, really good underlying metrics together so far this season. So it's no fluke, right? 3.1 expected goals for per 60, 33 scoring chances, 16.5 high danger chances. Like, they have performed extremely well, and there's really no reason to expect the goal scoring to decrease the way that things are going. And honestly, obviously Luostarinen up there has been a key part of that line in the past, and a lot, helps them in big ways. But with Mackie Simiskevich up there, maybe offers a little bit more offensive punch than Luostarinen, and we could see Lundell's numbers improve a little bit with Luostarinen on the shelf if that line continues to score more. Any final thoughts here on Lundell?
No, I just, that's absolutely bonkers time on ice lately. So let's keep that going.
Oh, yeah, it's insane. You love to see that. Speaking of bonkers time on ice, let's get to my first pickup of the week. It is Brandt Clarke of the LA Kings, just currently 26% rostered. With Drew Doughty on the shelf on a week-to-week basis, I like Clarke in standard formats. The Kings deploy a five forward power play one, which kind of limits Clarke's upside, but he's tied for 10th among defensemen in 5v5 points this season and is tied for 3rd among defensemen in primary points. So primary assists plus goals that he factors in primarily, and that's at 5v5. And the only defenseman better than him in that category is Cale Makar, shocker, with 11, and Josh Morrissey with 9. And we got Brandt Clarke sitting there at 8. So I obviously love Clarke here with Doughty out. On Monday, he played a season high 22:53. So the usage concerns from early in the season are completely gone. He's been up over 20 minutes in 3 straight games, and that's obviously not going down while Doughty is on the shelf. So the usage and the volume make Clarke a worthwhile pickup in standard formats. In terms of the shot volume, he's 11th among defensemen in shots on goal per 60, and we've seen a spike in shot attempts with the minutes increasing in the last couple of games. He's averaging 4 shot attempts per game in his last 9 games. So I think the real reason I like Brandt Clarke, obviously number one, Drew Doughty's out and the minutes are going up. But when you look across the league right now, we've got Victor Hedman, he'll probably be back soon, but Roman Josi out long-term. Charlie McAvoy probably out long-term. Thomas Harley out long-term. Thomas Chabot out long-term. Drew Doughty out long-term. So people are going to be in need of D help, and I think Brandt Clarke is as good as it gets on the waiver wire right now.
Yeah, Brock, and actually this we want to see what happened the last time that Doughty was gone. 12 points in 13 games to start last year for Brandt Clarke, which kind of got us all just, I believe his ownership shot up to plus 60% at that point. People were thinking, oh, here's the true breakout for Brandt Clarke. So it's going to be great to see him now with a little bit more ice time. Of course, unfortunately, to see a Doughty injury, but I know personally I've been kind of hovering on Brandt Clarke, just waiting for the breakout. Those junior numbers do not lie.
I just wish they would go to put him on power play one, get rid of the 5 forward unit, he would explode. But the 5v5 numbers are encouraging enough. It's not the end of the world if he's not on power play one right now. Let's get to the next pickup. Who you got, Beebs?
For me, this one, name's already been dropped, and there's a reason Brock loves him for his locks. It's Matt Coronato. I was incredibly high on Matt Coronato coming into the season, and there's a lot of reasons why. Basically, everything he's been doing for the last 2 to 3 weeks. Matt Coronato is currently 15% owned. He's on power play one and line one in Calgary. He has 10 points in 20 games played this season. But where his true value comes from and where Brock has been hitting his locks, he has 59 shots on goal in those 20 games played. Coronato was kind of a letdown for a lot of people out of the gate. I think a lot of people, including myself, drafted him with high expectations that he would flourish and become, a fantastic fantasy player. But he struggled. And lately, as I mentioned, he has been picking it up and just absolutely ripping the puck. It's like he figured out shoot everything and stuff's gonna happen, the cut or go chase style. So in his last 4 games, Coronato has 4 points, which is just fantastic to see him back on the actual score sheet. 3 goals, 1 assist. But where I've actually been absolutely floored is in the last 16 days. It was 14 to start the week, but he's extended this streak. In the last 16 days, he leads the entire NHL in shots on goal. Not just players below a certain percentage. He leads the entire NHL in shots on goal. And in the last 14 days, he has 4 more shots on goal than the next highest player, who is, I believe, Jason Robertson. So someone who's been giving absolutely insane fantasy value. And Coronato's surpassing these people in shots on goal. The whole time while he's been doing it, he's been playing a modest 19:30 time on ice in his last 6 games. So we've watched his average time on ice jump. He's still averaging 17:21 this year. So watching him get nearly 210 more time on ice, he's kind of turning it into more shots. He's turning it into more fantasy success. And you know what? Stuff sucks in Calgary, but it doesn't have to suck for Matt Coronato. He can be their one bright spot. And we kind of mentioned it coming in. We didn't expect them to, kind of jump off the page at anyone, for anyone. But if anyone could, it would be the former 13th overall pick. And now that he's shooting, this is not just this pace, it's not just fire. This is so impressive. You have to have a true shooting talent to be able to put the biscuit on net this often. And I mean, there's a reason I'm getting this excited. I've had people on Twitter say, I'm not going to get burned again. And I get that it's a funny pun because it's Calgary, but you know what? Get back out there, grab Coronato. There's some trends that are just too glaringly obvious to stay away from. And Brock puts 1 lockout a day. And if he's going with Coronato 2 straight, that shows quite a lot of faith in my boy Matt Coronato. So I'm really liking him at the top of Calgary's lineup, while I'm absolutely hating everyone else that they rostered in fantasy hockey. So
yeah, the shot volume is obviously just bonkers. I talked about it in Brock's Lock of the Day, but I think part of the reason why we liked Coronato coming into this year was the way he finished last year. He was on pace for 36 goals, 32 assists in his final couple months of the season, and the shot volume was really good. And he's actually improved that shot volume this year. So, the usage, if he's up over 19 minutes a night, he's going to be getting pucks on net with regularity. And as bad as that Flames roster is, Morgan Frost, Jonathan Huberdeau, and Matt Coronato have posted some really strong underlying metrics, and I think that Coronato is a big driving factor there. And I like him a lot moving forward. Let's get to someone with the best last name in the NHL, and that's Tyler Seguin. They call him Sagan on the broadcast. Myself, I go by Seguin, so I'm going to call him Tyler Seguin. He's 24% rostered, and I think it's easy to forget just how unbelievable he was last year before he got hurt for the season. He had 21 points in 20 games a season ago. This year, off to a bit more of a modest start, but he's really turned things on the last couple of weeks, posting 7 points, 4 goals, 3 assists in his last 7 games. Now, he is shooting 50% over that stretch. And you'd like to see the shot volume improve a bit, but I think that will come with some improved accuracy. For his career, he's hit the net with 58% of his shot attempts. Over the last few weeks, he's hitting the net, which is 37%. So down 20%, which is just bizarre. I think it's something that will figure itself out over time. And he's firing 3.8 shot attempts per game, which is a really respectable number. That'll help him get to like 2+ shots per game moving forward if that accuracy comes back the way we expect it to. And really why I like Seguin right now is, number one, he's skating with Roope Hintz and just the scorching hot Jason Robertson. And their schedule for the rest of this week isn't great. No light nights. I believe they play Thursday, Saturday. So no light nights for the rest of this week. But moving forward, next week their schedule ranks number 3. So if you want to check out the daily faceoff strength of schedule and move, ahead in a couple weeks, you can go to next week, the week after, as many weeks forward as you want to, and find the strength of schedule to see if, hey, is this guy going to be a good ad for a couple of weeks or a month or whatever? If you look at the Stars next week, their schedule ranks number 3 and then number 6 the week after. So a really good schedule coming up for the Dallas Stars makes Seguin a nice short-term option. I don't know if he necessarily is going to be somebody that's going to last on your roster forever, especially when Matt Duchene comes back and that lineup starts to shuffle a little bit. But right now, in the short term, playing with Hintz, playing with Robertson, I like Seguin with this schedule coming up. I do just want to give an honorable mention to Claude Giroux as well. 17% rostered for the Ottawa Senators. He has 14 points in 19 games, and him and Shane Pinto are basically the Senators' number 1 line. They are dominating teams at 5v5. Really nice schedule for them next week as well. So I think Claude Giroux is an interesting short-term pickup, because if you look at next week's schedule, it's very bizarre because of American Thanksgiving. So you got no games on Thursday, which means you have Wednesday 15 games, Friday 15 games, Saturday 11 games. So next week, there's only a handful of teams that have 2 light night games. That's the most you can get to next week. And the 2 of the 3 teams are the Dallas Stars and the Ottawa Senators. So I really like Seguin. Honorable mention to Claude Giroux as well. Pick your poison with those 2. Beebs, who's your next pickup?
Actually, just came into off our Florida news here. Eetu Luostarinen out week to week. So your Mackie Semaskevich earlier statement stands true. And that just while we're there, just keep an eye on him for a pickup if he is up in the top of that lineup. I love it. Also, Claude Giroux bumped to power play 1. I believe it was last week, and he's just been absolutely crushing it since he got that jump. Was crushing it at 5v5 before. But over to my guy. This has been a friend of the show here, Josh Doan, out in Buffalo. I know that Brock brings him up basically probably every Monday episode just because of Buffalo's awesome schedule that tends to land on Monday, Wednesdays, Fridays, yada, yada. But Josh Doan, currently 14% owned, is on power play 2 and line 1 in Buffalo, a recent upgrade for him. He has 12 points, 5 goals, 7 assists in 19 games played this year and 50 shots on goal, which is what we love to see. Doan was moved up to Buffalo's first line earlier this week, and we're kind of hoping that that will be the spark that it takes to take him to greater fantasy lengths. We've already gotten quite a bit of value out of Doan this year, which has been awesome since he was at 1.1% pickup for us. But Doan has excelled out of the gate regardless. He has he's on pace for 21.5 goals, 52 points, and 216 shots on goal. That's while only averaging 15.36 time on ice. So there's definitely some room for him to grow while already just firing the pill a ton. With him now getting the improvement up to Buffalo's top unit with Tage Thompson and Alex Tuck, which is a fantastic spot to be in. He put up 17.51 time on ice on Monday. So a 225 time on ice jump from his previous totals, which is kind of exactly what we were looking for here, and exactly what I was saying should push him to that next level if we want to get ahead of it. With him out there at 14%. The one thing obviously holding him back of it is not being on power play one, but if he's going to play this much and show that he has a spark with Thompson and Tuck, he could be there in no time. Zach Benson coming back, skating this morning, could be back on the team soon, but if Doan's doing his thing, I'm not too worried. You know, he kind of is their golden goose going forward. They traded a lot for, they gave away a lot and they got Doan back. So they're going to see what they got from him here. If he can increase that production a tiny bit more, I kind of see him as a 60-plus point player, which isn't that crazy of an ask. And if you're getting that from someone at this own percentage, that's pretty fantastic. Add in Buffalo has a pretty awesome schedule going forward the next couple of weeks. They're on a lot of light nights. Next week kind of confused me because I did write this thinking that there was light nights next week with them playing on Wednesday and Friday. But even the week after that, they have a 4-game schedule that is mostly a light night. So Doan should be able to fit in your lineup. And while he's getting the extra ice, he's a little sneaky banger league edition. 8 hits in his last 5 games played. So good to see from Josh Doan. He's going to do whatever it takes to keep himself out there. And this kid's a gamer. And I think he can really help your fantasy squads if you're in one of those deep leagues or you just kind of, want to get ahead of it and like guys that play top 6. So there you go.
Be hard not to like guys that play in the top 6. And even, like I do have concerns that maybe Benson will bump him down the lineup again, but I don't think that that's the end of the world. We've seen him be productive further down the lineup, but obviously playing with Tage Thompson gives you a little bit more ice time, most likely. And 1751, if we can get that from him moving forward, obviously be ideal. But man, 12 points his last 16 games, like you said, 60-point pace there. So I think, with the light nights coming up, Doan is definitely a sneaky good addition. And as you mentioned, on pace for north of 90 hits as well. So 210 shots, 90 hits, like kind of a category stuffer in extended formats. And I certainly like Josh. Just back to Eetu Luostarinen for a second. I just saw the news. He is week to week after suffering burns during a barbecue accident.
I don't know how I missed that. I only saw the week to week on my
That's
little
insane.
note.
Like between
what's going on with the boys and cooking and
unreal,
food?
Right? You got Jack Hughes, destroying nerves in his hand, falling on a glass or breaking a glass in his hand, and now we got barbecue burns for Eetu Luostarinen. Just bizarre injuries so far the last couple of weeks here. But let's get to my final standard league pickup. And that is Connor McMichael of the Washington Capitals. Now, this is going to be mostly schedule related, and we're going to get to it in a second. But McMichael has played up and down the Capitals lineup basically all season. He's moved from center to the wing. He's been on the first line. He's been on the second line. He's been on the third line. But right now, finds himself on that top line with Dylan Strome and Alex Ovechkin. Strome and Ovechkin, been a bit of a revolving door on that right wing position, some Anthony Beauvillier there, but the duo, no matter who's there, of Strome and Ovechkin has been fantastic. The underlying metrics together this season are, as some of the best metrics in the league. They've been phenomenal, and it has not changed with McMichael up there. It's a trio that has outscored opponents 9-4 at 5v5 in 140 plus minutes together since the start of last season. So they've found success together so far over the last year and a couple months here. But the real reason to get excited about McMichael is this upcoming schedule. Next week, they have the best schedule in the NHL, according to the Daily Faceoff Strength of Schedule tool. The following week, they have the second best schedule. So the next 2.5 weeks here for McMichael and the Washington Capitals, it looks great. They could absolutely feast. And with him being at the top of this lineup right now, he's the one kind of readily available player on this roster that, looks like they're in a prime spot to succeed over the next couple weeks. I do just want to give an honorable mention more for banger leagues, but Ryan Leonard as well. With that schedule coming up, I think that Ryan Leonard, he offers a little bit of category coverage. You'd like to see him play more minutes, obviously, but in deep banger leagues, I think Ryan Leonard, with the way the schedule lines up for the Capitals, makes a lot of sense. So he was almost my banger league pickup, but just the time on ice isn't quite there. So Beebs, why don't you get us started with our first deep league pickup?
Oh, I'm so excited about this one too, and it could not have come at a better time. Braeden Bowman out in Vegas scored an absolute beauty power play goal last night. This was a guy who got called up, undrafted free agent, and got immediately placed on Vegas's power play one and their top 6. And as I mentioned in previous episodes, if you kind of follow us on Twitter, we were ahead of that. We had it. I put it out there. And he actually wasn't even on ESPN yet. So that's how ahead of it we were. He ended up playing a game in the NHL, got 4 shots on goal, and he still wasn't on ESPN's free agency. So that's how far out there Braeden Bowman is. But I think he's here to stay. He's got 2 goals in 4 games played to start the season, 9 shots on goal. He's averaging 17-15 time on ice. He's just gaining, I guess, praise from basically everyone. Their head coach came out last night, said, I can't believe how much he trusts this kid for 4 games into the NHL. And we love to see that for fantasy hockey, because hopefully he'll be here to stay while Mark Stone is out of the Vegas lineup. As I mentioned, he came relatively out of nowhere as a 22-year-old undrafted rookie. And now he's just playing on their top line in Vegas with Jack Eichel. I don't know if you've heard of him. He's the Braeden Bowman is the ex-Guelph Storm captain. He's put up 4 shots on goal in both his debut and a second game, so 2 of his first 3 games, and basically he just looks like a lock on that top power play, and a perfect fit there. As mentioned, 9 shots on goal, great production. We absolutely love that. He's a little bit of a larger winger, and he produced quite well in the AHL before his call-up, so this isn't out of nowhere. He had 12 points in 12 games with Henderson. Again, AHL, 7 goals, 5 assists out there. So he is a goal scorer, and it's pretty wild that Vegas is looking for a piece to kind of complete their top 6 at this point. Obviously, Mark Stone got hurt, but it is wild that a team with that much talent was still looking for a piece, and they bring in an undrafted 22-year-old, and he looks as good. So while Braeden Bowman is locked into that top power play spot and in that top 6, there really isn't many better options you can find below 10% or even below 20%, in my opinion. I expect this to shoot up as people start to see just where he positions himself on that Vegas power play. P.S. It's in a fantastic spot to score goals. So between him and Dorofeyev, there's going to be a lot of goal scoring in Vegas on that. And that power play is, I got to be honest, it's terrifying now that they found another piece that can do well there. Unfortunately, came at the expense of Shea Theodore. It's got to happen, though. He's kind of just been getting dumped on all season. But Brock, you like Bowman? I don't know. It's the first time I've ever seen a player come absolutely out of nowhere and just step onto like an elite top power play. It's not just, you're not stepping onto a bottom 5 NHL team here. This is a top 5 NHL team. It's crazy.
Yeah, he makes a lot of sense. I think obviously with Bruce Cassidy seems to really like him, which is huge, right? You mentioned that, and everything that I've read, of Bruce Cassidy talking about Braeden Bowman. It's kind of a tongue twister there with the double B, but it's good, and he looks really good. I think what's encouraging is the usage, right? The minutes are huge, over 17 minutes in 4 games. The shot volume is really good, 4.5 shot attempts per game, 2.3 shots on goal per game. Like, really does, he's going to be the guy that's going to get those high danger chances on the power play.
He has to be a DFS darling for you guys, right?
I played him last night. I played him the night before. He's super cheap. The volume is great. He couldn't be in a better spot of the lineup. And I was actually looking at Sports Logic data yesterday, and he's just doing a lot, right? Generating a lot of chances. Those offensive driving plays, he grades out really well. Individual expected goals, because he's getting to those dirty areas, he's grading out really well. So yeah, in deep formats, I'm not sure how long-term sustainable this is, but in the short term, there's really not a better pickup in those deeper formats than Bowman right now. And even in standard formats, I think he makes a lot of sense. Like you said, he's playing with Jack Eichel, and he's on the top power play unit that's got Mitch Marner and Jack Eichel. There's a lot of talent there. So yeah, he makes a ton of sense right now. In the short term, we'll see how it progresses. I think my only concern is that the fact that the Golden Knights don't have the best schedule moving forward, but in deeper formats, it really should matter.
No, absolutely. And what I was going to say is most of these lower end players should definitely come with a disclaimer that they're likely, just this is a short-term solution for your team, but that's what we're here for. And we'll give you that weekly solution each week. So you're good.
For sure. And he comes with the caveat where it's it's short term if it's not super sustainable, because he did kind of come out of nowhere. But Mark Stone's not expected to be back really anytime soon, and I do think that this could turn into a longer term solution. It just has to, if he keeps this up, he's not going anywhere. So yeah, I think he's a great suggestion. Let's get to my deep league pickup, and that's Axel Sandin-Pellikka from the Detroit Red Wings. Sandin-Pellikka was recently promoted to the Red Wings top power play unit over the last couple games, but he's yet to pick up a power play point in those 2 games. But it's definitely a good spot to be. You just talked about how good the Vegas Golden Knights power play is. The Red Wings power play unit is absolutely loaded with talent as well. You got Larkin, who's playing unreal, DeBrincat, Kane, Lucas Raymond, and their power play as a whole is top 5 in the NHL over the last season and a couple months. So it's been almost exactly 100 games. Over the last 100 games for every team, the Red Wings power play is top 5 in the league. Sandin-Pellikka is also starting to see the usage increase overall. He's been averaging over 21 minutes per game in his last 3 games. And his modest shot totals, I think, are really more of a they're not really a true indication of what his volume has been. He's top 40 among defensemen in shot attempts, but he's hitting the net on just 32% of them. So I think, again, similar to Tyler Seguin, the efficiency will probably improve moving forward. I think the Red Wings offense is really starting to come on right now. And they have one of the most fantasy-friendly schedules, not just next week, but all the way up until Christmas. So week 8, 6th best strength of schedule. Week 9 is the only time it gets difficult, 23rd. But after that, week 10, number 1. Week 11, number 6. Week 12, number 6. This is a really nice fantasy schedule, lining up beautifully. The Red Wings top line last night of Raymond, DeBrincat, Larkin was just unbelievably dominant. They've been incredible since being put together. So this is an offense that's going to score. It's a power play that's going to score. Sandin-Pellikka, just phenomenal pedigree, a player that I really, really think is going to have a super bright future. And we could start to really see it here in the next couple of weeks. So again, with all these blue line injuries, if you're in those deep formats where there's not a lot of quality blue liners available, Sandin-Pellikka makes a lot of sense in the short term. Let's get to Banger League targets, Beebs.
Yeah, before we do, though, I just want to ask you, as a Wings fan, I've had a few people come out because this is great news for people who want ASP in their lineup. But what does this mean for Seider? And did he kind of, like should they be worried as Seider owners here? And because he has played quite well from the eye test, personally.
Yeah, I think the thing with Seider is obviously you want him to be on power play 1 and producing points, but I think a lot of what Seider's value comes from and where he's valuable is in those banger formats, and that's not going to change, right? Like, he's still going to be a guy that's going to go out there, play 22, 23, 24, 25 minutes. Obviously a lot of his production has come on the power play this season, and he's going to lose part of that, but I'm not that worried about Seider because, the leagues that you drafted him to be, drafted him high in,
he's doing that.
He's doing what he's supposed to be doing, right? He's going out there getting 2-3 blocks a night, 2-3 hits a night. He's going to produce in those formats no matter his role in the offense. But yeah, I think the offensive numbers are going to take a dip. And in more standard formats, I'd be a little bit more concerned. But in those extended formats, he's still going to be a stud.
Yeah. And speaking of Banger League darlings, let's just walk right into our Banger League pickups here. Alex Laferriere out in LA. Let's not get that mixed up with Alexis out with the Rangers. This is the one on the Kings. Currently 13% rostered, power play 2 and line 2. He has 10 points in 20 games played, 5 goals, 5 assists, 44 shots on goals, 49 hits, and 13 blocks during that time. He's just kind of filling all categories. But he is one of 7 players in the top 40 in the NHL in hits with double-digit points, so he actually brings value, which is very rare for a lot of guys who love to throw the rig, much like Laferriere does. So, and he's kind of been going quite wild his last couple of games. In his last 5 games played, he has 4 points, 2 goals, 2 assists, 14 shots on goal, 13 hits during that time. So he's kind of proving what moving up in a lineup can do, as I mentioned throughout this episode. And during that time, those 5 games, Laferriere is averaging 1747 time on ice in the Kings' top 6. We mentioned it with Braeden Bowman being above 17 minutes of time on ice a night. That's fantastic. So if we're going to talk about it there, let's talk about it here with Laferriere. He's likely not going to pierce that top power play. But again, we're talking banger leagues here. Take away his first 6 games played this season where he had an absolute donut. He struggled to find the back of the net or even get a point. And he has 10 points in his last 14 games played. During that time, he has 32 shots on goal and 32 hits. Across a full 82-game season, that'd be a 59-point pace, 29 goals, 30 assists. And add in 187 shots on goal and 187 hits. And we have a category stuffer across the board, and you are getting him in 87% of your leagues right now. At 24 years old, it seems like the winger might be coming into his own as he adjusts to kind of what he has to do to stay in this Kings top 6. And with that, it looks like he's going to just bang. And we love to see it. I think that Laferriere makes a sneaky pickup in those leagues. And it's good to see, as I mentioned, with so many guys being just super hit friendly and not providing points, it's good to see some of these players come out that can kind of do a little bit of both and get the shots on goal. It's rare to have it all. And usually these guys are 30-40% just because of these banger leagues. So to be this low, I think we got a bit of a steal here for Alex Laferriere out in Los Angeles. Who do you got as the final suggestion of the show, Brock, and our final banger target?
Yeah, Laferriere obviously still in that line with Quentin Byfield and Kevin Fiala, and that's a line that's been really good together over the past few years, and I don't think that's going to change anytime soon. But my banger league target is Lawson Crouse of the Utah Mammoth. I just realized that the graphic still says Utah Hockey Club. That's on me. But the Utah Mammoth winger is just currently 5% rostered. The Mammoth third line might surprise you. They have just some unbelievable, extremely good underlying metrics. And now JJ Peterka was bumped down there, giving them a little bit more offensive punch as well. But they've been a nightly threat as of late. They get a little bit more usage than your typical third line as well. And the increase in underlying metrics and the shot generation and expected goals numbers has really started to show in Crouse's numbers in November. He has 6 points in his last 9 games, 3 goals, 3 assists. But he's also chipping in 1.4 shots on goal, which is pretty modest. But the 2.3 hits per game is why we're focused on Crouse here in banger formats. The hit volume will always be there, but while that third line is dominating, the scoring chance, ratio, his offensive production should continue to be fairly steady as well. So it doesn't hurt. Again, a theme for me is always just looking ahead. A lot of these guys I don't anticipate going to be on my team forever. I'm going to look ahead at the schedule, see if they got a nice schedule coming up, and the Utah Mammoths certainly do. They rank 11th, 1st, 7th, and 3rd in strength of schedule over the next month. So he could be a month-long hold. He could be a shorter-term hold, but I think he's making some noise right now. That third line's been absolutely excellent, and he's a decent short-term banger league target right now. And that is going to do it for this edition of the DFO Fantasy Show. As always, every Wednesday, we're going to be joined by Beebs Bondy to go over the waiver wire. Sometimes we change things up a little bit, maybe look at some buy low, sell high candidates in the coming weeks as well to make, help you make some of those trades. Speaking of helping you make some of those trades, I teased it on Twitter the other day, but in the next day or so or two, we're going to be releasing rest of season projections at dailyfaceoff.com. I've been working really hard on them. They're going to be updated weekly. With the rest of season projections comes rest of season rankings as well. What we're also going to do is put those projections, rest of season projections, in the preseason projection tool that allowed you to manipulate the rankings based on your league settings. So you can go in, whether you're a bank or a category or point format, you can go in and upload your league settings and then get customized rankings for the rest of the season for your league. So if you get an offer to trade and you don't know if it's good, you can use the rest of season rankings and rest of season projections to figure out if it's a good trade or not. We plan, it's going to be a little bit further down the road, but of making a trade analyzer tool out of these ranking projections as well. So instead of you having to do the math, you can just punch in the names and see if it's a fair trade for you or not. So a lot of things coming up here that are going to help you continue to just dominate your fantasy league. But as always, Beebs will join us on Wednesdays. Tomorrow's episode, Dylan D. Berthium will join me again, and we'll go over the best weekend streaming options for week 7 of the fantasy hockey season. Beebs, thank you so much for joining me today. We'll see you back here next week.
I'm so excited for that tool.
Thanks for watching this video. If you want more great fantasy hockey and betting content from myself, Carter Hutton, Matthew Barnaby, and the rest of the DFO analysts, make sure you subscribe to the DFO Fantasy and Betting YouTube channel today and never miss a minute.